Welcome to my presentation on how to retire without saving money through real estate. Hello, I'm Mark Prather, founder of the Mark I Real Estate Wealth Academy. As you can see in my bio, I've been in the real estate industry now since 1977. I started selling houses when I was 18 years old. At 19, I moved over to the mortgage industry, became a loan officer. At 22, I started my own mortgage company, Mark I Mortgage, which I've had ever since. 5 years ago, I started the Mark I Real Estate Wealth Academy. And here's what the motivation behind that was. Is over my long journey in the real estate and mortgage industry, and as an investor, I learned some powerful and profound facts that I recognize have never been brought to consumers before. I'm going to share with you some information today that is going to blow your mind, that can literally alter the course of your life and your family's life financially. So how to retire without saving money. Americans struggle to save money. 77% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Obviously, living paycheck to paycheck, you're not saving any money. 80% of Americans will run out of money within 5 years of retirement. We have a full-blown retirement crisis in this country. Saving for retirement in a 401k or IRA has failed miserably. That was the plan. When American pensions started to go away in the private sector, they came up with the idea of the IRA or the 401k. And that was supposed to help people to transition so they could retire. The number of people that can retire has been declining for decades. There is a real-world solution to this, because the whole key to a 401k or IRA is you got to be able to save money, and most people simply can't. I'm going to show you how we can solve that problem. So if you're struggling to save money, you have to be worried about financial security and retirement. And most people believe there's no solution, but there absolutely is a solution. And I've lived that solution, and I'm going to share with you this. So what do you believe is possible for your life financially? Odds are what you believe is a long way from what is really possible. You know, my biggest challenge in this process is you and I both know that you want to be financially secure, and you want to retire, and you want to leave a legacy of wealth. Am I right? I know you want that, because we all want that. But I also know that 90% of you believe that is a pipe dream, that is not going to happen. And you worry about money, and you struggle with this carrying this psychological burden. I am telling you, we can solve this problem. If you are employed, if you have a job and are making in excess of $50,000 to $60,000 a year, we can get you to retirement and financial security and even serious wealth. But again, you and I both know you don't believe that. I'm going to show you this path as we go on through this journey. Here's the wealth crisis in America today. Now, the dark blue represents 1986, and the light blue is 26. This is basically a 30-year snapshot of what's happened with the wealth in this country. Now, if you notice, if we go to the far right, look on the far right there where it says the top, not top 1%, top 1/10 of 1%. From the dark blue to the light blue, you can see that the wealth growth of the top 1/10 of 1% has grown fairly significantly. Now, the next 9/10 has also grown fairly significantly. So the top 1% of the people in this country own over 50% of the wealth in this country. Now, the next 9%, there's been a slight dip. But if we add up these three categories represent 10% of this country. The top 10% own 93% of the wealth. Now, we go to the next category, 50 to 90 percentile. That's the middle class. Look what's happened to the middle class. Their wealth growth, or their percentage of wealth, has contracted almost in half. This is the wealth crisis in America that is solvable. I'm going to show you the solution. But the false belief or the inaccurate belief that saving money in an IRA or 401k is the only path. Many believe it's the best path, and they believe it's also the only path, but it is neither one of those, is causing this problem where we keep seeing the amount of wealth growth that people have. And I'm going to share with you exactly why this is happening. I'll explain that to you in a moment, and how we can solve this problem. So what does it mean to be rich? Now you can see in this picture, fancy car and a big house. This is what I believed what being rich was when I was young. Most people believe rich is either a big house like this, or they believe it's a big savings account or a 401k, and it's neither one of those things. Here's what rich is. Rich means having a lot of non-employment income. Now here's why I say non-employment income. Over the many years, just the decades, 40 plus years in the mortgage industry, I took thousands of loan apps, I worked with thousands of clients. And when we ask people, how much employment income do you have? They all know. Everyone knows what their salary is, what they make per month, per hour, per year. But when I ask them how much non-employment income, they don't even know what I'm talking about. Here's what I'm talking about. Non-employment income is income you have coming in while you're not working. Now, ultimately, we want to get to a place where we can replace your employment income with non-employment income. So imagine you had non-employment income that was equal to your employment income. Then you're in the place where you can not only retire, but retire permanently because you don't have to worry about it ever running out. Now, Social Security is part of non-employment income. If you're a school teacher or work for the government, you could have a pension. That could be non-employment income, or there could be investment income. So the question I have for you is, how much non-employment income do you have right now, and how much do you see in your future? For most people, it's little or no non-employment income. Now, where my journey began, my parents are only 18 years older than I am. I was born in Los Angeles. I grew up for the most part in Compton and the surrounding communities there. And in Los Angeles, in the environment I was at, my parents, neither one, my father didn't even get to high school. My mother didn't get through high school. All my cousins and, all my aunts and my uncles, and on both sides, none had a high school diploma. My point is this, the environment that I grew up in, people struggled. People did not believe that life could get any better. This is why I titled my book, Why the Rich Stay Rich and the Poor Stay Poor. 90% of the people never change their life circumstance. Rich stay rich, middle class stay middle class, and poor stay poor, all for the same reason, what they believe. I know what is possible for your life is so beyond what you believe. My biggest challenge in getting you to where I know you want to go is what you believe. See, you believe what you have seen and experienced, but what you have seen and experienced is based on people living a limited life based on what they know. Here's what's different. You don't know what you don't know, just like I didn't. When I started this journey, I had no idea how to get to financial security, let alone wealth or retirement. But I've learned that journey. And I want to share with you, I want to show you the steps, because once you know the path to any journey, it's not hard. Here's the hard part, the struggle of fear and doubt. You know what you know, but because what you know is so limited, that the idea of stepping beyond that limited knowledge is scary. My point here is that this fear, this doubt of what is possible, and getting on a journey that you don't know right now is scary, and that's okay. All that means is you're normal. We all deal with this incredible voice in our head of fear and doubt. But I want to assure you, I've made this journey. I want to show you this process because it is very, very doable. See, saving money is not the way to living the life of your dreams. We have all been told the same thing since we were very young, that there's only one way to become financially secure. You have to save money, and you have to save a lot of it. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not discouraging saving money. We all want to save money. Saving money is a good thing. Saving money shows financial discipline. It shows financial responsibility. So I'm all for saving money. But the reality is, you and I know that saving money is really difficult. And because of that, the middle class is really struggling to save money. And the poor simply cannot save any money. But I'm going to show you that we can solve this problem. The old false belief to a safe financial life, and we've all heard this, is get a good education, number one. Get a good job, number two. And number three, set up a retirement account and save as much money as you can in your 401k or IRA. But I ask you this question. How many people do you know that have failed following this formula? I'm telling you, 90% of the people I know, I am now 62 years old, 90% of the people I know that follow this formula have failed. The better strategy to acquiring wealth and living the life of your dreams. I'm going to show you this formula of how to build serious wealth without saving money. The retirement is about two numbers. Number one, it's about how much money is going out, like what kind of expenses do you have going out, and how much non-employment income do you have coming in. Retirement should not be about how long can I live on my life savings. Here's the mindset that most people have. I'm going to save as much as I can, and then I'm going to live on it. That's a horrible strategy. I would bet you 80 to 90% of you, that's your whole game plan. I'm going to save as much as I can, and I'm going to live on it. Here's the problem with that. First, for most of you, it's nowhere near long enough. Number two is most seniors live in abject poverty because they're petrified they're going to run out of money. There's a better way. We're going to show you how to solve this problem. Let's walk through the math. These are the numbers of what our typical client's financial circumstances. They're 40 years old, so they want to retire in 25 years. Their current monthly expenses are about $5,000 a month. So this is rent, car payments, utility bills, insurance, food, everything. $5,000 a month. And actually, this is kind of on the lower side, particularly if you live in Orange County. They're saving about $400 a month. They have $20,000 in their retirement account. Now, inflation in this country has averaged about 3% a year for the past 100 years. In Southern California, it's actually higher than that because of real estate prices rising so much higher than that and rents rising higher than that. In your retirement account, most people are averaging around 4%. We've used 4.5%. Now, here's why they average around that level. Is when you put your money in a retirement account, you have a money manager. Number one is a money manager not free. They got to get paid. And very often you're paying 1.5% or sometimes even more than that for these money managers. Number two is they try to manage your money in a way where it's conservative. So a very small percentage will be in an aggressive growth fund. Maybe 10% is a typical number. Then they'll take about 30% and they'll put it in a moderate fund. Then they'll put another 30% in something that's conservative. And then they'll put the bottom 30% in what's called fixed income. When you add all of these four categories up, the actual return is around 4, 5, 6%. Subtract the money management fees, and you're lucky to be at 4.5%. Let me show you what that picture looks like in 25 years. In 25 years, you have $282,000 saved. Your annual expenses are now grown. They've more than doubled. Every 22 to 23 years with inflation, your bills are going to double. So now your annual expense is $125,000 a year. Years of retirement, if we simply divide those two numbers, we have less than 2.5 years before we run out of money. But it's actually worse than that, and here's why. Your life savings in that 401k or IRA is not all your money. You have two partners. One is the state of California. You're going to pay the state of California. It could be 8, 10, or 12% in state taxes. Then you have the federal government, and that could be anywhere from 20 to 30% depending on what your income bracket is. But generally speaking, about 30% of this money is going to go to the government. So take 30% of 282, and you can see that number comes way down, and it's less than 200,000. So you have on that 282,000, $1,060 of non-employment income or retirement income. Your expenses have doubled, you have this gigantic shortage of $9,400 a month. Now, if your bills, if you need $9,409 to pay your expenses, how much money do you need to have coming in? You got to factor income taxes in, right? So we need another probably $2,500, $3,000. So the reality is you need closer to $12,000 of non-employment income so that you can be in a place that's equivalent to having a pension where your money and your income will never run out. So if your expenses are $10,469 at time of retirement and your rate of return on that is 4.5%, you're going to need to save $2,791,000 in your retirement account. Over 25 years means you need to be saving $3,000 a month. How many middle-class Americans do you think can save $3,000 a month? When I do this analysis with our clients and they look at this, most have a nervous laugh. They chuckle in disbelief because I ask, can you save this? And they say, yeah, no, I can't save even close to that. And they don't believe there's a solution. Let's get into the solution. You can grow wealth and retirement income on autopilot without saving money. See, wealth growth without saving money starts with owning a home. Now, if you're a renter, you probably haven't experienced this, but if you're a homeowner, you have experienced this. And if you look at what's happened this year, it's unbelievable. See, the home is the greatest creator of wealth in this country. For most Americans, 80% of their net worth, of their wealth, is in their home. They are growing massive amounts of wealth far beyond their retirement. It's not even close. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars of wealth versus tens of thousands in their retirement account. So that's secret number one, is we can build massive amounts of wealth on autopilot. Now I know what you're thinking, don't you need a lot of money to buy real estate? Well, this brings me to my next secret. Building wealth is not about saving money, it's about acquiring assets, and you can get started with little or no money. There are all kinds of down payment assistance programs. Some are government programs, some are private sector programs, but there are all kinds of these programs where if you have $500, that's all you really need, and you can go buy a home and get started on this journey. But this is just the beginning. Real estate is the only asset you can acquire without using any of your own money. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I know a lot of homeowners who aren't wealthy. And that is true. Most homeowners aren't wealthy because they don't know what they don't know. And that brings me to the next week. You can build millions of dollars of wealth through real estate with the proper guidance. And what I'm really referring to here is understanding what I learned over my journey, which are really sophisticated and complex wealth building strategies that we, meaning me and my real estate wealth advisors, our trained real estate wealth advisors, will guide you in this process and putting a plan together so that we can take, if you own a home, you have a massive money-making machine. If you're a renter, we'll get you in the game. So you have this massive money-making machine, but that isn't enough. You need to know how to take this massive wealth growth and convert it into non-employment income at a level that will replace your employment income. So the challenge for most struggling homeowners is they were never educated in wealth growth through real estate. Most consumers don't know this. Most real estate agents don't know this. And this is why I started our Real Estate Wealth Academy, is we train agents and loan officers in this process. And we are literally the only company in America that is training agents and loan officers in how to become real estate wealth advisors. There are 5 economic benefits to real estate, which means you're building wealth 5 different ways simultaneously. I want to show you exactly what I'm talking about, and this is going to give you some idea of the amazing wealth growth power of real estate. There are 5 economic benefits to real estate. I'm going to show you these 5 economic benefits and what the difference is in the way wealth growth through real estate will work compared to saving money in a 401k or IRA. Now, let's say, we'll start off with scenario one. Let's say these red chips represent your money. Let's say you put $1 in the bank. And let's say you get 1% interest. Now, the reality in today's world, interest rates are so low, you're not even going to get 1%. You're going to be more like a quarter of 1%. But for simplicity, we'll say $1, 1% equals 1 cent. Now, there are three major problems with trying to save money in the bank. Number one is the interest you're going to get paid is so ridiculously low. Number two is you're actually losing money because inflation is running 2.5%, 3%. As I said before, in Southern California, it's running even higher than that very often. So you're losing money, you're going backwards financially. But here's the worst problem, and this is why I created the poker chip presentation, because 90% of the people are completely unaware of what I'm about to share with you. And this falls in that category of what I said before. You don't know what you don't know. This is what is called linear wealth growth, meaning you're making money on a straight line. You're only making money on your money. Now, let's compare it to the stock market or 401k, or you put another dollar. And let's say you make 8%. So here's 2, 4, 6, 8. Now, to average 8% in your 401k or IRA for your entire lifetime is unheard of because of some of the things I mentioned before. One, you got to pay fees. Two is these money managers will diversify your money. So you're usually way less than this. My point is this, is I am slanting the deck in favor of your 401k or IRA in the stock market. 8%, way better than the bank on $1. But it has several problems. The first big problem is it's still linear wealth growth. You're only making money on your money. When I ask people in our live events, and I'll ask the audience, how many of you believe people are getting rich in their 401k or IRA? How many people do you think raise their hand? 0. They know. Here's my point. Why do you want to do what you know is not going to get you where you want to be, which is wealthy? It's the limited belief that there's no other way. Here's the other big problem with your 401k or IRA. There's two other huge problems. Is your 401k or IRA does not help you along the way in your life journey. If you're younger, your 401k or IRA is like useless to you. It doesn't help you in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, or even your 50s. Not till you're 59 and a half can you start to access some of this money. Wouldn't you like to have an investment that's creating additional non-employment income today? That's going to help you with maybe paying your kids' education. There are so many things that raising a family you need help with. Your 401k IRA is useless until you're 59 and a half, 60 years old. Then when you go to access, I'm going to tell you the other huge problem is, when me and my friends started all reaching this time in life, and my friends start to go to their retirement account to pull money out, and they say, let's say they need $5,000. Well, what they don't factor in their mind is that to access $5,000, now they have to pay the state of California and the federal government. So they're going to pull out like $7,000, $7,500 to get the $5,000. So what's happening to the retirement account is it's evaporating. It's disappearing far faster than they ever planned on. But again, the biggest problem is the linear wealth growth. Now let me show you the difference with real estate. Let's say we take $1, just like the other two categories, and buy a $10 property. So $1, 10% down. Here's $9. So now you have a $10 asset. Now where do you think you're going to make more money? On a $10 asset or $1? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? Here's the first economic benefit of real estate. It's leverage. So what this means is you're making money not just on your money, but you're making money on the bank's money. What's amazing is you can buy a property. Now in here I'm talking about 10% down, but as I mentioned before, you can buy with no money down and even no closing costs. Now, let me ask you a question. Would you loan someone 90% of the money to buy a property, to buy an asset, and get no ownership interest? I wouldn't do that. But that's what banks do every day. They make these loans at these incredibly low rates. They loan the borrower sometimes all the money to buy the asset, but they own 0% of the property. Here's the point, 100% of the profits go to you. So let's take a look at what those profits look like. Let's say real estate averages 5%. 5% appreciation. Now, that's a low number. In California, the California Association of Realtors charts the history dating back to 1968. The average California appreciation rate is 7.3% historically. Now, this year, the rate has been well past that. In LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, it's been much higher because interest rates have dropped so incredibly low. But let's just use 5 versus 8. So as I mentioned before, I'm stacking the deck in favor of stocks. 5% of $1 is 5 cents, but 5% of $10 is 50 cents. So let me show you what that looks like. Here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So we've only covered 2 economic benefits, and we've already blown away the stock market. And I mean blown away your 401k or IRA. Here's what's amazing, and I can show you these numbers over and over with our financial calculators and forecasting reports that we do. You're going to grow wealth at 3 to 4 times as much in your retirement account through real estate, through a property, starting with the house, but we want to keep going. But we've only covered 2 economic benefits, and we've blown away the stock market. Now, here's the next category. Every time you make a mortgage payment, a percentage of your mortgage payment goes to the interest, and a percentage goes to principal reduction. What people don't realize, including loan officers, is the lower your rate goes, the higher the percentage of your mortgage payment that is applied to principal reduction. And what that means is rate goes down, wealth growth goes up, because your interest allocation on that payment is less and the principal reduction is more. So you're accumulating wealth in a much more rapid way with lower interest rates. Today we have interest rates at all-time historic lows, which means you're building wealth at all-time historic highs. So that's the mortgage paydown. Next is rental cash flow. If you were to own a house, let's say you own a house currently and you turn your home into a rental, now you start collecting rents. Now, rents are the safest form of investment income or non-employment income you can have. Here is why. Let's say in 2008, you were retired and you had $1 million in your retirement account, and the stock market collapsed, and your $1 million dropped to $500,000. What do you think happened to your retirement income? It got reduced dollar for dollar. But let's say in 2008, you had $1 million triplex. And let's say that $1 million triplex was generating $2,000 a month times 3 units, $6,000. So you're generating $6,000 a month. Now, if you had 6% interest, that would be $6,000 a month on your $1 million in your 401k. But now it dropped to $500,000. Now you only have $3,000 a month in retirement income. But in 2008, let's say you had this triplex generating $6,000 a month in rental income. What happened to rents in 2008? They went up. Why? Because the number of people most of the people didn't have their homes taken from them. They walked away. They were so upside down in their home that they walked away and they became renters. But here's the point, and I want you to write this down. Real estate is the safest investment you can make, and here's why. Our financial security, our financial lives are tied to our non-employment income. How much non-employment income do you have right now? Probably little to none if you're like most people. But here's why in real estate it's safer than any other asset. Real estate is the only asset that operates on 2 separate supply and demand components. So let's walk through that. In 2008, let's say you had $1 million property. The demand to purchase real estate or stocks collapsed. Stock prices dropped in half, and so did real estate prices. But what happened to the demand for rents? That's the second supply and demand component. The demand for rents actually went up. Now, what do you think the odds are that the demand for rental property or for housing in Southern California is going to decline in your lifetime? People are moving to Southern California from all over the world, literally. Vacancy factors in Los Angeles and Orange County are like 1%. The state of California has created a law called an accessory dwelling unit law so people can add more units to their housing. We have a housing shortage of massive proportions. So rental cash flow is it's stable because the demand, it's not attached to the price. Now, last is tax benefits. The tax benefits of real estate. Real estate has always had preferred tax status where you have several write-offs, and I'm not going to get into that training right now, but there are several significant write-offs that you just don't have in any other investment, not just your 401k or IRA, but any other investment. So the majority of the income that comes from your real estate is tax-free because you can write off a lot of it. What is awesome about real estate is because of the tax benefits, meaning the write-offs that you have through real estate, is much of the income you receive is tax-free, which is much less than what you would see in as far as the amount of taxes you will pay. What all of this means is your return on investment on real estate will blow away the stock market. You can look at, this is a typical scenario of someone that buys a home and how they're growing wealth at a pace 3 to 4 times faster than they are in their retirement account. Now, as good as this is, let me tell you what makes it even better. And I call this the secret sauce to real estate and why real estate is the most powerful wealth building investment you can make, bar none. I'm going to repeat that. Why real estate is the most powerful wealth building investment you can make. And here's why. Real estate has what's called a utility value. Now, here's what that means. Let's say you own a home. And you say, okay, I'm going to go buy another house and I'm going to turn my house into a rental. Now, you bought the house. Here's your 10% down. You have the money from the bank. You have a contract with the bank. You're making payments. You turn your house into a rental. This is the rental income. So you're collecting this rental income. So you cannot do this on stocks because if you put money in stocks, there's no utility. You get a stock certificate, but you can't use it for anything. So you cannot sell the utility value of stocks. But because you own real estate, you own the land and the structure. Now, because it's this tangible item of land and structure, it can be used, meaning it has utility value. So you sell the utility value to what we call a tenant, and they pay rent. So now you own the asset just like you would own stock, but you're selling this utility value. The tenant is paying you for the utility or the usage of the property. So here's their rental income, and their income pays off your loan. So I want to say that again. Their income that they're paying you, the rental income that they're paying you, so that rental income they're paying you pays off your loan. So if you borrow some money, or let's just put it this way, if I loaned you money and someone else paid off your loan, wouldn't the money I loaned you become free money? And that is absolutely the case in real estate. There's no other investment where you can accumulate hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars of wealth through free money because of this utility value. I learned this path years ago, but people aren't sharing this. The wealthy know this. See, here's the reality and why you cannot compare real estate to stocks as an investment, because it's really not a fair comparison. Real estate blows away the stock market, your 401k or IRA, and here's the key reason. The truth is it's more of a business. See, when you put money into stocks and you buy stocks, you have a passive investment. You don't own Amazon, you don't own these companies. You have a minuscule amount of stock in this company. It's a passive investment. But when you own a house and you turn that house into a rental, now you're basically in the hotel business. See, when you own a hotel, you rent bedrooms and ballrooms, right? But because it's a business, you're making money 5 different ways. But I want you to imagine you own a hotel. Owning a hotel, does that mean you need to be behind the registration guests, checking in all the guests and cleaning all the rooms and doing all the books? No. Hotel owners don't do all that stuff. They hire people. So what that means is you can do those things, or you can bring a property manager to do all those things. See, when you own a home, you turn it into a rental. Now you're in the hotel business. You're renting bedrooms and bathrooms. And because it's a business, you can borrow on it. You can get all these tax write-offs, and you can grow wealth at these 5 different levels. And as I said, you can see it's not even close. But this is the first step, which is understanding these 5 economic benefits of wealth growth, understanding the utility value, and then the next step is how do we apply them to your life circumstance. All right, let's recap our 3 secrets. Number 1, you can grow wealth and retirement income on autopilot without saving money. Look at this massive amount of wealth. You can grow wealth at a level you never imagined possible. And if you're already a homeowner, you know what I'm talking about. The wealth growth in real estate in the home today is phenomenal. Number 2 is it's not about saving money, it's about acquiring assets. And we can do this with little or no money. So if you're a renter, you can get started really easily. And number 3 is you can build millions of dollars of wealth through real estate with the proper real estate wealth building strategies and through accumulating hundreds of thousands, even millions of dollars of free money. Okay, now let's recap what we're talking about here. Because I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I'll never be wealthy. It's not even about wealthy. I'm just trying to save my way to be financially secure. But here's the part of what I said before. You don't know what you don't know. If you can build wealth on autopilot without saving money, because that's the first major obstacle most people have, and we've shown you this. And you can accumulate assets that are $500,000, $1 million asset. You can accumulate literally millions of dollars in assets, starting with an entry-level property of maybe $400,000 or $500,000, and get someone else to pay off the loan. So you create massive amounts of free money. You get these loans paid off by someone else, so now you're creating hundreds of thousands, even $1 million of free money. Are you starting to understand how you can create a multi-million-dollar net worth? In our client consultations, and you will see this in the testimonials, so please watch our testimonials. The average middle-class American can have typically a $2 to $3 million net worth. In their 401k, they're lucky. They are lucky. If they are really breaking their back trying to save money, they might get $200,000, $250,000. That same person can have $2 to $3 million net worth. We are literally talking about billions and millions of dollars, but it comes down to you cannot simply say, if I buy real estate. It's more about understanding the real estate wealth building strategies and the financial dynamics, and in what I call in my book, the science of building wealth. That's the key. The financial questions that will determine your future. Remember I said it's about real estate wealth building strategies. It's about what you know. To simply say if I buy real estate, I'm going to build serious wealth and be financially secure is not necessarily true. These are the 4 questions that you need to know the answers to. Number 1, what will your inflation-adjusted expenses be at the time of your retirement? You know what your expenses are today, but what are they going to be at time of retirement? Is retirement 5 years, 20 years, 30 years? What is your time of retirement? We need to do an analysis and say, what are my expenses going to be? What is inflation going to do to your expenses? And that's going to be different for different people because of their lifestyle differences. Number two is, how long will your life savings last with these expenses? In every one of our consultations, this is where we start. See, you have a financial plan, a wealth building plan. You have a formula or a strategy that you're following. Now, most people don't know what that is. They're just living their life, but they don't realize that they have fallen into a path, into a formula. I like to say life's like a recipe. We all follow the recipe. Now, if you know the recipe, it makes all the difference. But if you don't know the recipe, then that becomes a recipe for disaster. So how long will your life savings last with your expenses based on your current lifestyle? As I said before, for 80% of the people, it's less than 5 years. Number three is, how will you create the non-employment income that you will need to pay your expenses that will never run out? Now, here's the typical middle-class American. Their expenses, $5,000 to $6,000 a month. In 20 to 25 years, they're going to be $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Add taxes to that. Means they're going to need to have $12,000 to $15,000 a month in non-employment income to live on, to pay their bills. So they got to pay the government and they got to pay all their bills. Well, what percentage of those people do you think have any idea how to create that kind of income? They don't, because they're locked into this false belief that it's all about set up a 401k or IRA, save as much as I can, and then try to live on it. And that's the formula that is certainly going to fail. And number four is, how will you protect your retirement income from a major recession or lawsuit? So it takes a lifetime to build the wealth and non-employment income you need so you can become financially secure and stay financially secure. The wealthy learn because they have access to really smart people. They can pay smart attorneys, and there's several different types of attorneys that you can work with. And CPAs, we're going to teach you that, and we're going to introduce you to people. And I'm talking about really bright attorneys and CPAs that we work with, that we would introduce you to. And we don't make any money on that. We just do the introduction. But these are pros in wealth growth and asset protection. And they're really reasonable because we want to put you in a place that, and this gets back to, we need a plan. You need to know exactly what to do. If you know exactly what to do, it's not hard to do it. The hardest part is limiting yourself because of the fear and doubt in your mind saying, oh, there's no way I can be a multimillionaire. Yes, there is, and we can show you the way. So what to do now is get your free personal retire without saving money through real estate wealth building plan. Now, to receive your free retirement plan, we need the following information. In our website here, we have what we call our client information list. It's super simple. Most of the information, like 90% of it, you know right here. You don't have to even look it up. You just fill out this client information sheet, and we're going to reach out to you. Send us this client information sheet. Our Mark I Real Estate Wealth Advisor will be reaching out to you to contact you to get your information. And we're going to schedule a review to walk you through this process. We're going to have this conversation of how we can take wherever you are in life. Whether you're, the client I was just talking to yesterday, 62 years old, renting and thinking he couldn't retire. And we got him on a retirement plan. He's going to be able to retire in 3 years. Sounds impossible, right? It's not. It's not. So we got him on this path. And in fact, you know what? I'm going to add him to our client testimonial so you can hear what his story is. But whether you're 25, younger is better. The younger you are, the better, the easier, because you're going to be, it's not about retirement really if you're young. It's about becoming seriously wealthy. But we're going to get you on this path. And here's what's awesome about this. This retirement plan, because I know you're thinking, oh my God, this is going to cost a bunch. No, it's free. There is no reason for you not to do this consultation, to learn the path of how we can take you from where you are today to building millions of dollars of wealth. There is zero reason not to do this. You need to learn this path. It will help you to overcome that voice of fear and doubt. Here's what our client information sheet looks like. You can see the first category is basically just information about you, contact information. So as I said, this is all information you know. Next is how much do you have saved? We don't need to know to the dollar, but basically how much money have you saved in your savings accounts and retirement accounts and that. Do you own or rent? If you own, what is your property worth? If you don't know, we can just look on one of the free services like Zillow or whatever. But an estimate, a ballpark estimate, what is your house worth? What do you owe? Meaning how much wealth or equity do you have in that property? If you have more properties as rentals, same thing. What is it worth? What do you owe? What's the rental income? So we're basically trying to get a read on where you are in assets right now and how old you are. Those are the two key ingredients. Then from there, depending on what are your goals, is your goal to retire as soon as possible? That is a separate plan. So if you want to retire as soon as possible, then we'll show you how and when we can get you, how quickly we can get you to retirement. If your path is, well, I don't think I'm going to retire, I like what I do, so I want to keep building wealth, and that's a different plan. Or if you're younger and you say, you know what, I want to be seriously wealthy. I'm not really worried about the retirement thing right now. I'm young. I want to make millions and millions of dollars. I want to have a net worth in excess of $10 million. How do I do that? Then that's a different plan. But this is where we start. You can download this form right now, fill this out. So how do we make money? I know you're sitting there saying, well, nobody works for free, right? And that is very true, kind of. Let me tell you what I mean when I say kind of. Our real estate wealth advisors are both licensed real estate agents and loan officers. They earn their income from the transactions, from the real estate transactions and loans, when and if you choose to invest in real estate. What we are doing here is our trained real estate wealth advisors are trying to earn your investment business. If you're a renter, we're going to show you how we can get started into building wealth through real estate. Then when you choose to buy that first property, the real estate wealth advisor that's licensed in real estate will work with you. You will pay them nothing. The seller of the property will pay them. The loan officers that are the real estate wealth advisors will help you with the loan. They're trying to earn your business. So the bottom line is, everything we've talked about here is just the tip of the iceberg in training you and educating you about this journey through real estate. The next is about learning the real estate wealth building strategies and having a guide in this process. Our real estate wealth advisors are experts. They can guide you in this process. Less than 5% of the agents and loan officers know how to do this. It is a really individualized expertise. This is how you overcome the struggle of fear and doubt. It's first getting educated, and second is having a guide that has your best interest in mind that's going to walk you through this process. This is how we can help you. So why the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor? As I said before, 90% of the people never change their life circumstance. I lived this. I know how hard this is. When you believe something and you believe it with your mind and your heart because it's all you've ever experienced, breaking through that and past that is the hardest thing I ever did. So I know that voice in your head that's saying, oh, you'll never be wealthy. You'll never have $2-3 million. I'm telling you, you can. I've done that, and we have many clients. Next is know-how. We're going to bring you the know-how free. Doesn't get easier than that. But once you have the know-how, if you don't take action, nothing's going to happen. And that's where overcoming the fear and doubt is critical. So what do you believe is possible for your life? Me and my team are doing everything we possibly can to change your life. Make your life as good as it can possibly be. And not just your life, but your children's lives. I know you want that. I know everybody wants all of this. But the struggle, again, is your doubt. This is my favorite verse in the Bible. According to your faith, be it unto you. Here's what this means. According to what you believe will come to pass. So if you believe your life will never improve, it will in fact never improve because you won't have the courage to take the next step. If you're watching this presentation, that's a great sign because what that means is you have hope. And hope is the first step. Without hope, nobody does anything. No one ever takes a step, but you have hope. But hope without knowledge and courage will fail. So we are here to bring you the knowledge and bringing a guide along the way to help show you where the pitfalls in the road along the way are, so you don't have to fall in them. In my book, Why the Rich Stay Rich and the Poor Stay Poor, I have a chapter called What Can Go Wrong? And that's what the guide is there for, is to show you, hey, these are the things that can go wrong, so let's prepare so we don't let these things happen. So we don't, it's like driving down the road. You don't drive into a pothole. You say, oh, let's just go around that. And we're going to help you with all of that. We're going to be reaching out to you to schedule your consultation. We can get together, which is always more fun, or we can do it online, whatever you're more comfortable with. There's no cost, there's no obligation, there is no reason to say no. We want to change your life. We want to help you to become multimillionaires. You know you want that. We know you want that. And for the majority of you, remember that chart that I showed at the beginning, that 50 to 90 percentile, that's the middle class. If you're in that 50 to 90 percentile, you can become a multimillionaire. There's no doubt about it. And in our consultation, we will show you that. Now, depending on where you are, the higher up, 2 to 3 million may be way, way too low. And especially if you're young, $5, $10 million net worth, very doable. We will show you that in our process, in our consultations, and generate the financial worth. Please watch our consumer testimonials. That will trail right behind me here. Watch the consumer testimonials. When you hear all these people that learn this path, and notice, not just what they hear, but I want you to notice their faces and see the joy, see the happiness, see the confidence. See, when you know you can do something, when you understand how you can do something, and you know you can do it, what happens to your fear and doubt? Goes away. It just disappears. I hope you take the next step. We're going to reach out. We really passionately want to help to get your life on track. I'm Mark Prather, founder of the Mark I Real Estate Wealth Academy. I appreciate your time. God bless you.
I think the big picture here is that we have opportunities to invest, to actually get our future and our retirement going, that we can purchase a home, buy another home, and go from there.
Do you remember how much retirement income we talked about that you could create in your life?
I mean, I just remember like 3 million.
Yeah. To create non-employment income so that you can create legacy for your family, to understand real estate in a way that's mind-blowing. I am so excited. I'm excited about what I've learned. I'm excited about you learning it. You know, find out what Mark has to offer and just really like apply this to your life and go out and make it happen.
The one thing, that we were talking about is that to me was so impressive is how you had the courage to spend the time. You read the book, came in for a consultation, and you had the courage to take action. And now you own over $1 million worth of real estate, and you're on your way and put yourself in a great place for retirement. So what I want you to talk about is, how did you do all that? I mean, because so many people are paralyzed by fear. What did you learn from this?
I got informed, first of all. I educated myself. So, I was scared. But once I talked to Evan and I came and, I seen the consultation with you, it just opened my eyes to a different world. And now I'm so happy because...
Yeah. And you understood, huh?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
He made it very, very clear for a person to understand it's not about the house, it's about what the house can do for you and how important it is to own real estate so that when you get ready to retire or along the way to retirement, you have other options. You have rental income, you have retirement income later in life in terms of you have a house that outpaces inflation or stays with inflation. All those things are so important for a person's financial health. And so he made it very, very clear that it's not just about the house, it's what the house or the real estate can do for you. You can't beat that.
When I saw Mark's presentation and heard all the information, I was like, I couldn't stand it. I was in my seat. I'm like, oh my God, how am I going to get started? And all these things were going through my mind. I was so excited. And I remember coming up to Mark, or you remember at the end, saying, oh my gosh, you are onto something that is so huge and powerful.
Real estate is important to my financial future because it's going to build the wealth that my family desires.
This is about creating wealth that's going to continue, legacy wealth.
How much was the retirement income that was possible, where we talked about in 20 years?
One? This one?
So in 20 years,
yeah, 20 years,
13,000 a month.
About 13,000
A month.
a month, yeah, which is
And how much money is that going to require you to save to get to that level?
nothing.
Zero. Amazing.